The M1 MacBook Air is the first Apple Silicon Mac with near MacBook Pro level performance and almost double the iPad Air battery life, but with no fan and also no redesign, starting at $999. It's Apple's most popular Mac, and I've been reviewing it since it first came out. So I'm going to tell you whether or not you should go and get it now, or whether you should wait and get the M2 MacBook Air redesign that's rumored to be coming next. And I'll be doing this for every Apple product coming this year. So hit that subscribe button and bell so you'll know how to best save and spend your hard-earned cash in 2021. The M1 MacBook Air got a new heart, but no new body. More on that incredibly impressive new heart in a hot minute, but it has the same design as the previous Intel MacBook Air, going back to 2018. And that's okay, that's fine. It gave Apple a known thermal envelope to target, and it absolutely kept the price down. More on that in a sizzling minute as well. And it's still small, still thin, still light, just the easiest Mac to carry from work to school or kitchen to couch. And it's still got that famous Star Destroyer wedge shape, the one that launched 1,000 Ultrabook clones. And I love it, I absolutely love it. It's just not new. What is new is what's rumored to be coming with the next generation MacBook Air, likely sometime in either late 2021 or early 2022. Even smaller, even lighter, maybe as small and light as the now discontinued 12-inch MacBook Nothing. Just once again pushing the envelope, that manila envelope on ultra portability. So if you don't care about the design and the current level of small and light is just more than small and light enough, get the M1 Air. But if you've been craving, just yearning for something as small and as light as the old 12-inch MacBook, then wait on the M2. The M1 MacBook Air did get a better display. It was already Retina, which means high enough resolution that you can't really see, you can't really discern individual pixels, just clean, crisp images and text. Also True Tone, so whites never look too yellow or too blue, just proper paper white. But now it's also P3 wide color gamut, which means reds look richer and greens look more vibrant. It can't get quite as bright as the MacBook Pro, only about 80%, but I found it to be more than bright enough for most situations and for most things. The M2 MacBook Air is rumored to be keeping that same 13.3-inch display, but just shrinking down the bezels so there's less casing around the content. And while there are rumors that the MacBook Pro might shift from LCD to mini LED for deeper blacks, higher contrast, and HDR, it'll probably take a while longer for that tech to filter all the way down to the MacBook Air, like M3 or maybe M4 longer. So on display alone, there is no point on waiting. If you want a MacBook Air, get it when you want it. The M1 MacBook Air has, of course, the M1, the first generation of Apple Silicon, based on the same IP and architecture as the A14 Bionic, the one that's found in the iPhone 12. I've got a whole explainer up with all the details, so check the link in the description. But it's basically an ultra-low power system on a chip. It's got just about the best single-core performance in the business. Also, iPad-level responsiveness, where everything feels just utterly instant. And that's no exaggeration. It's the biggest boost in the history of the Mac, and that you can get it in something as small as the Air and fanless, which means it is totally silent, is just remarkable. It runs native apps better than ever before, and lollygagger Intel apps sometimes also better than before. The 18 hours of battery life are mind-blowing, but it's the simple quality of life improvements that are really game-changing. M2 will be M2, the second generation of Apple Silicon, almost certainly based on the same IP and architecture as the A15 later this year. And that means we'll probably get similar to the same kind of improvements in speed and efficiency that we've seen over the last few years with the iPhone. In other words, significant but not earth-shattering, not at this point. Likewise, once Apple nails battery life for a device, they tend to just hold the line on that battery life and use future gains in efficiency to just keep ramping up performance. And I don't expect anything different with the M series. So if you want the best mobile processor on the market right now, you'll get all of that and more with the M1 MacBook Air. But there will always be a next generation, so the longer you wait, the even better you'll get. One of the coolest, just the absolute coolest parts of the M1 MacBook Air is the unified memory. Just this giant pool of 8 gigabytes or 16 gigabytes slapped right onto the chipset and shared between the CPU, the GPU, the neural engine, and the image signal processor. Combined with everything from memory compression to ultra-fast swap, I mean, 8 gigabytes is still 8 gigabytes, but it's the very best 8 gigabytes it can be. Same for 16 gigabytes, especially when it comes to graphics, because embedded graphics are usually far more RAM constrained and bottlenecked. But those are the only options on the Air and on the M1, 8 gigabytes or 16 gigabytes. And M2, at least the low power version of M2, probably won't change that much, at least not for the Air. Same with storage. If you really need more, you'll really need to wait on a higher end MacBook Pro, which will probably go as high as 32 or 64 gigabytes and 4 to 8 terabytes again. But if it really is the MacBook Air that you're after and the current capacities are more than enough, then you can just go get the M1 today. Back in 2015, Apple started going all in on USB-C, but it took until 2018 for that to hit the MacBook Air. Since then, we've had 2 USB-C/Thunderbolt 3 ports on the left. And 2 is good, even if they're both, hey cap, on your left. But that kind of defeats the whole purpose of being able to charge or connect to either one, especially now since Apple has put Thunderbolt controllers right on the M1 chipset and made them just as fast as they could possibly be. But rumor has it Apple might be bringing back MagSafe, the ancestral MacBook charging system, which snaps on magnetically when you want power and then snaps off just as easily anytime anyone trips over the cord. There's also an off chance Apple will bring Thunderbolt 4 to the party, at least at some point as well. So if you're all about USB-C and Thunderbolt 3 is plenty fast enough, then the M1 MacBook Air is just all you need. But if you're willing to wait, MagSafe and maybe, just maybe, Thunderbolt 4 could be yours on the M2. I'm personally torn on this one, torn between USB-C and MagSafe, so let me know what you think about them in the comments. M1 brought Wi-Fi 6 to the Mac, which is sure absolutely better than Wi-Fi 5, but there are rumors the M2 might bring Wi-Fi 6E, which adds 6 gigahertz and makes it actually even really better. Also, maybe cellular with 5G, though I'd still consider that an enormous maybe given how much work Apple would need to do on hardware antennas, software networking efficiency, and pricing, which I'm still going to get to in that minute. But there's a reason the cellular iPad costs so much more than the Wi-Fi version, and that reason is spelled Qualcomm. Personally, I'm more than fine with tethering, but if you really want cellular, you may really want to wait, even if it's a good long while. The M1 MacBook Air has Touch ID. That's Apple's fingerprint identity scanner, same as the previous couple of Intel models. Those were based on the secure enclave in the T2 coprocessor, which was an A10 Fusion generation, like the iPhone 7. This one is built into the M1, which is an A14 generation, like the current iPad Air. And it works great for everything from unlocking to Apple Pay to approving admin escalation, just way faster than typing in a password. But there's an off chance a next generation version, an M2 or M3, will finally take advantage of the neural engines and offer full-on Face ID, maybe even as well. That's Apple's facial geometry identity scanner. It gives you everything Touch ID does, but just by looking at you, no touch needed. And who knows, maybe even with a better webcam built in. Finally, and if that's as high on your list as it is mine, just drop a like below. So if you prefer the idea of Touch ID, then no need to wait. Just get an M1 MacBook Air as soon as you need it. But if you prefer the idea of Face ID, then you may want to wait at least a while and see. The M1 MacBook Air starts at $999, even less with an education discount, which has always been just the minimal magical price for the Air. And yes, $999 still isn't cheap, but given the performance, the battery life, and the longevity you get from Apple's build quality, it's still just a ton of value, which is why it's still just the most popular Mac. An M2 MacBook Air, though, sounds like it's not going to replace the M1 so much as just slot in right on top of it. Just a more powerful Air in an even more portable package for an even higher price. So if money really matters and you want an entry-level MacBook Air, you'll want the M1, available now. But if money is just no object and you're really lusting after a higher-end Air, then you'll have to wait to lust over the M2. And while you're waiting, check out this playlist where I take a much closer look at the M1 Macs and preview the M2 MacBook Airs, the ones coming next. Just click on the playlist and I'll see you in the next video.